Yeah, so ISA stuff. Ultimately, what led me down the path of looking into ISAs and trying to figure out that models was this concept of expansion that I was exposed to by my current company, and heard one of the leaders one day say that if you want to sell more houses, you have to have more conversations with people about buying and selling real estate. Point blank. Every business is in the business of lead generation. Doesn't matter if you're a doctor, a dentist, an attorney, or a real estate agent. If you don't have people to service, you don't have a business. And so, with this concept of expansion, what I found is that I'm a pretty good real estate agent, but I'm more of a business person. And I had ambitions to get myself out of production and grow and scale a real estate team. And when they talk about expansion, it's essentially taking your model in your current market and duplicating it in other markets around the country. What I liked about the ISA is that I could have all the ISAs under one roof, and they could be calling into Charlotte, Atlanta, Raleigh, Wilmington, Asheville, and all of those guys are just down the hall. So in my mind, being the number one expired listing agent in my market, I'm like, look, I know what to do. I know what to say. So all I got to do is bring people in and tell them what to do and tell them what to say. Boy, was I wrong. That's a really challenging position to hire for, to find somebody that's willing to come in day after day for 8 hours a day, lock themselves in a room, and face rejection 95% of the time. And so high turnover position. With each bad hire, you get a clearer picture of who you do want to go into that role. But to me, the most efficient way to have as many conversations with people about buying or selling real estate per day was through the telephone, through triple line dialers, through calling into the low-hanging fruit of the real estate world. There's the police. The, yeah.
Somebody posted your picture.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's already Instagrammed it. Exciting.
about buying and selling real estate, right? So, in my mind, the quickest and fastest way for us to go into a new market and scale our business was to attack the low-hanging fruit in those markets, which is expireds, for sale by owners. Once you start generating listings, you're calling around open houses, and then you're circle prospecting. So to me, those are all things that I was already comfortable with. So I just needed the people to make the phone calls in order to scale into another market. I know a lot of you in the group don't pay for leads. We do pay for leads and have tremendous success with it through pay-per-click. In the early days, we were using Zillow, but the cost per lead just went through the roof. And so we pulled the plug on that and applied that all into pay-per-click. So Raleigh market has been one of the fastest growing metros in the country for about a decade now. And most of the people are relocating in from the Northeast, from California. Well, when you move into the Raleigh area, you're going to Google search, Raleigh homes for sale or best school districts in Raleigh. So we pay for those keywords and get people on a couple of our websites, RaleighHomefinder.com, selling Raleigh real estate. We generate somewhere to the tune of 700 to 800 leads per month. What led me down the path of the ISA model is that I kept banging my head against the wall of trying to get these buyer agents to work all of these leads that were coming in, and I found out that they're not very good at it, right? The kind of the ideal version of a buyer agent is somebody that's like calm, cool, collected, warm, friendly. Let me take your hand and hold you through the process. You put that person in a room and make them cold call for 4 hours a day, they're not going to be very happy about it, right? And so I gave up on the concept after failure of like just seeing like over the weekend like 80 new leads come in and they just wouldn't touch them, right? Because their personality style wasn't meant to attack leads that had 3 to 5% conversion rate, which means you're going to get told no 95 times out of 100, Well, what ends up happening with people is that their mindset sours, and they're like, well, these are crap leads, right? So we all know with success, 80% of your success being your psychology. Once your mindset sours, one of two things are going to happen. Either you're going to stop making the calls altogether, or when you make the calls, you're going to be in a negative mindset energy, and the law of attraction, you're going to find what you're looking for. So right now on our team structure, we currently have 3 ISAs. 2 are inbound. So the inbound guys are working the pay-per-click leads that come in, the Dave Ramsey, the Home Light. We still get a few Zillow leads that come in.
How big's your team?
So right now we have 3 ISAs, 5 agents, and 3 admins. Yeah, but we've trimmed some good fat of like not culture fit, some people that weren't producing recently. So
What's your lead volume? I'm just trying to get
700 to 800 per month. Yeah, and we have 22,000 leads in our database right now.
What's your cost per month on the pay-per-click?
Oh, that's a good question. Right now, we're spending $4,000 a month on pay-per-click leads, and cost per lead, which is going to vary by market, is $8 to $10 per lead.
So, Logan, who do you have managing your leads?
I have a database manager, so I don't.
So let me rephrase this question. I'm sorry.
The database, you mean?
No, your SEO, your pay-per-clicks.
Ye-
your PPC.
Yes.
Who do you have managing that campaign?
Our end-to-end database solution, which is Sierra Interactive.
Oh, so you are using.
I give Sierra, I pay Sierra the baseline for the database, and then I give them a pay-per-click budget to work with, and then they manage the campaign for me. Sierra Interactive. And we recently switched over from Commissions Inc., which is a really popular platform out there, super expensive. I think it was like $18,000 a year just for the database. That doesn't include any pay-per-click or lead generation on top of it. And we came off of a real estate conference in Fargo, North Dakota. You should look this guy up. He's really, really smart and love his content. His name is Eric Hatch, with Hatch Realty. They sold 800 homes last year. And they also moved over from Sync to this thing. What they realized in using Commissions Inc. is that they were throttling the communications. So you would send out an email to, you think, 1,000 people, and the reality is that only about 100, 150 were getting it. And there was no like metrics to let you know that. What they were doing is they were trying to protect themselves from like spam stuff without losing clients where the information was being throttled. Same thing with text messages. So with Sierra Interactive, there's a plugin through Hatch called Hatch Messaging, which is these really smart, intuitive like text message and email campaigns, but they're updated in real time. So pandemic, seasonality, market conditions are changing. They go in there and they change the emails and they change the text messages, and they're very humanized and conversational, and our contact rate has went through the roof. This guy, the database manager for Hatch Realty, was sitting up on stage, and he, the team leader, Eric Hatch, his guy Robbie that manages the database for him, he's like, Eric, cover your ears. He said, we're not even calling our new leads anymore. He said, all we're doing is we're texting and we're emailing them, and we're using that to start up a conversation. We're asking great questions. And then once we've got a dialogue coming, we can jump in and turn that over into a lead. Think about it, young and old alike. What is the preferred method of communication? It's text for young and old alike. So I think that that's a problem in our industry is new lead comes in and then 10 seconds later you blow up your phone. That's not what they want, right? Like it's to me, it's a respect thing. When I get a call from a telemarketer out of the blue and they just want to rattle off their pitch to me right then and there in the moment, I think that's disrespectful. I'm like, first of all, I didn't ask for you to call me. This is completely unsolicited. You didn't even ask for my permission if now was a good time. Yes, I might be a buyer for what you're trying to sell because it's something that I'm interested in, but I believe the best way to do it in today's age is to identify interest and then work to set up an appointment after that. Because people are overextended, Facebook, Instagram, text messages, voicemails, all the other stuff that they're managing in their daily workflow. if you call somebody unexpectedly, they're not mentally in a spot to have that conversation, right? So I think it's more appropriate to use text and email to find a time to set up an appointment where they're in a headspace where they can focus on talking about whatever it is that you're selling. And we found our conversion go through the roof with that approach. Sir?
How do you spell how do you spell
Like the Sierra Nevada or Sierra Mountain Range, Sierra.
So, real quick, so you went from Sync, our commission Sync, to Sierra.
Yeah. Follow-up boss before that.
Okay.
What does Sierra run? What does it run?
I want to say the base price $7.95, and I've got like 10 accounts, for all my team members in there. So that where the one we were coming from, I want to say it was $1,500 a month, right? So I'm putting that extra $800 a month into lead generation.
Did you move all your leads over?
We did. We paid somebody to do that for us. Yep.
Do you guys utilize video in your emails or text messages? And if so, how is that worked out for you?
I personally do in my own lead generation efforts, but we don't have that built into the drip campaigns. Maybe not a bad idea.
You should.
Yeah.
My conversion rate has gone up through the roof. Like whenever I get a lead, and I'll just send them a quick text with the video.
Yep. I use video a lot. Each day is part of I call it my 3-minute miracle. I go in and you get the notification every morning from Facebook whose birthday it is, and then I just hop into Messenger, turn on the video, and do a video, and the response rate is almost 100%. Where if you post on somebody's wall and they get 300 other posts, again, I find that annoying because then I feel the need to go and and comment, and that's the last thing that I want to do when I'm enjoying my birthday. So I think that's a really smart way to connect, and because it's different, it stands out and it's memorable. So you get people to engage with you that way. I also use it when somebody sets up a new listing appointment for me. I say, hey, excited to meet you, and then afterwards, hey, great house, great people, think we'd be a good fit to work together. When I do that, combined with a handwritten note, I almost never lose, right? I don't always do the handwritten note, though, because I'm not that disciplined.
Just send it through Messenger, private messenger?
Private messenger, yeah. So each morning, Facebook will send you the notifications of whose birthday it is that day, and then you can just jump straight in Messenger, tee up the camera, and get it rolling. And another part of the 3-minute miracle is to send 3 gratitude texts each day to people that you're just thinking about, whether it's a family member, relative. Gratitude is the highest form of energy, and I've just found it to be a very powerful way to get your energy right before you go out and attack your day. And people reciprocate, right? Now all of a sudden you're top of mind again with that person that you maybe haven't spoken to in months or years. I always get questions on. Go ahead, sir.
So when before you go to the listing appointment, an hour before, when do you send that video, and then what do you do after you?
I'll send it the same day the appointment is set, and then post-appointment when I get back to the house, I'm getting to my desk or whatever, and I'll shoot another quick video. Thank you so much for the opportunity. It was great getting to meet you, see your home. It's beautiful. I think we'd be a great fit to work together. And then similar thing in a handwritten note. It's a lost art form. There's a company you can leverage right now too that we're using. It's called Handwritten. Robotic arm with a blue ink pen. The outside of the envelope is addressed in blue ink, and then the note card, which of course you can customize, is in blue ink as well. You lick it and it smears. And so we're currently using that for database. They have an option too where you can toss a gift card in there, which it's fully leveraged. They manage it for you. So my top 100, they all just got Happy New Year. Hope your year's off to a great start. If there's anything I can be doing for you, let me know. And then there's a Starbucks gift card in there. But we're also using that for absentee owners to try to find listings or investment or wholesale deals where it's hey, would you consider selling your Raleigh area investment property to some buyers of ours? ? If so, call or text me at. That's also a very effective campaign for expired listings. We hit expired listings 90 days to 18 months back with the same exact message. This one's not a handwritten note though, This one is a hand-addressed envelope, no return address, no business stamp, right? Because you want the open rate to be as high as possible, right? So when you've got a return business address on there and then a printed out label, you're like, this is something business. You see that handwritten note on there, it's like, how often do you get a handwritten note, right? Right, exactly. So the open rate is like 3x if you do it in blue ink. And then on the inside, it's just an Excel like spreadsheet. My admin team takes care of it, but it's the same thing. Would you consider selling your property at 123 Main Street to some buyers of ours? Your phone will light up like a freaking Christmas tree.
And is this from that's completely right, and the letter to the buyer?
Yeah, we do 90 to 18 months. 90 to 18 months back. I think like if you expire, then a week later you get that. You're like, something's up here. They're like fishing. But after that 90-day period, I think you're gonna get a lot more inquiries. And then we're also doing the same thing for high equity absentee owners in our market. So I'm looking at that as like, hey, it's either a listing, it's either a cash offer. Keller has a cash offer program. I might be interested in buying it as a fix and flip, a wholesale deal, or a long-term rental.
And you get that list from the title company, or do you use like?
PropStream is the best one that I found.
I use I just got it and it's awesome. I'll tell you in a little bit once I find it. No, for list of absentee owners, isn't Reddit just for
PropStream is $99 a month.
REI Pro is what it is.
Okay, I've heard of them. PropStream is $99 and it gives you 10,000 records per month.
So my broker had it here for a minute. Make sure
Per month.
that what he's saying is great. It is. It's a great tech. But in Oklahoma, you cannot do that.
What's up?
You cannot do something blind.
Can't do
You
what?
have to.
What do you mean? Oh, you have to have a return address?
You have to have a return address, and you have to have in there that you're a realtor connecting with them.
Yeah, that might be a law in my state too.
I saw you furiously taking notes. You can still do it. Very, on the bottom, small.
Yeah, do what she says. For me personally, I'm calculating opportunity costs, right? Yeah.
And again, every state is different.
Yeah, in some states it's perfectly fine. So it's just know your state law, and
So it just has to have the return?
you just need to make sure it's on there that you're a realtor reaching out to them.
So I did a lot of research on the front end, like figuring out how these guys get compensated and just talking with my contacts around the country. And of course, it varies on the market. New Jersey, New York City is going to command probably a higher salary than some podunk town in South Carolina. What I found is that on average, salary ranges between $2,000 and $3,000 a month. And then the overrides are between 5 and 10%, right? So ours is, we do $2,500 a month. And then I always want to incentivize my team to go after listings for obvious reasons. So we do 5% on buyer sales and then 7% off the total GCI on the listing sales. Yep.
For your ISA. So you're paying
Yes.
$2,500 a month plus, what was that?
Say that again.
So what are you paying?
$2,500 a month, and then 5 or 7. 7 for sellers, 5 for buyers. And then my lead database manager, he does all the hiring, the training, the one-on-ones for the people underneath him. And so he gets $100 for every buyer closing and $250 for every seller closing. And in a 2-week pay period, some of his paychecks have been $6,000, right?
Yeah, no, it sounds, I love the incentive behind it, but real quick, do they get, and I don't run an ISA program obviously, but do they also get incentivized to set appointments? Because it sounds like they get incentivized.
They do not. So initially, we compensated them for setting appointments, and what we found is that the appointment quality was not very good. Right, so they weren't going through the proper pre-qualification questions to make sure that we were having good appointments for our agents. So there's this whole symbiotic relationship between ISAs and agents, and what I found is it was impacting morale and culture because there were no-shows or appointments that they should have never carved time out of their day to meet with. So then we went lead with revenue, and we're going to only compensate at successful closing. Appointment quality got better, morale came up, and you don't want to be wasting your agent's time or impacting their energy.
So how do so the buyer's agent, you take these fees these out, then what's your split with the buyer's agent?
Good question. So our splits for the buyer team, if it's somebody that comes from their personal sphere, we go 60-40 because I want them working their sphere. If it's a team-generated deal, so I generate a pay-per-click deal for them, but they're feeling hungry that day and the buyer agent decides to jump in the database, which we give them full access to anytime they want it. Those are on a 50-50. And then if it's an ISA-generated deal, to offset the split and to help finance some of the salary, I do 40%, right? So think about it. I'm giving them 5 to 7%. I'm taking an extra 10%, and so I'm using that extra 5 to 3% in order to finance the salary of the ISA. So assuming they're performing, they're essentially financing their own salary. Does that make sense? Yeah. Look, I take an extra 10% if my ISA sits the deal. The ISA only gets 5 to 7% depending on if it's a buyer or seller, which means I have 3 to 5% margin that comes back to me. So in my mind, I'm using that money to finance the salary of the ISA without dipping into my profit.
Real quick, so you go 40, if it's the ISA sets the deal, then
The buyer's agent gets 40%.
40%, and then they have to pay they're not paying it.
I pay the bonus off of my split. Right.
What I might do is just because we've got one more little thing and then I gotta go and get dinner, but thank you for like literally, I just asked him to do this, but we might continue this
Sure.
tomorrow if that works.
Absolutely.
I think there was a lot more questions on it, so thank you, Jordan.
Yep, my pleasure. Yep.